Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Watching the Boxes Fantasy Basketball Podcast, presented by #basketball.com. I'm your host, Mike Catron, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Tyler Watts. What's up, Tyler?
Can you say that anymore? Is that lying now? Because I don't always join you. So
You don't always join me, but you're always joining me in my heart.
Oh, all right.
That's all that matters.
That's fair enough. So, Mike, what have you been up to? Have you been watching an insane amount of basketball? How has your life been? What have you been doing with it?
I've been sequestered in a dark room watching Detroit Pistons basketball and New Orleans Pelicans basketball, and even this evening Chicago Bulls basketball. I made it almost through the entire game.
You know what really made me angry about that game? Okay, I live in PA, and you can usually watch the Cavs. And that Cavs and Bulls game was supposed to be on NBA TV, and it all it came up on the screen was like one of those, due to contractual obligations, we cannot play this game in your area. And I was so confused by that.
That sounds like some of that shady Quicken Loans nonsense.
I think sometimes it has to do with they don't sell enough tickets or something, because I can't really figure out any other reason why that would happen. It happens sometimes with the Wizards games too, but they're definitely I can watch them on League Pass, so I don't understand how that happens.
That's old. That's old school shit. When they black you out because they don't sell enough tickets. That doesn't work. I get it. You know, a shit town like Cleveland hasn't caught up to the fact that it doesn't work, right? I mean, that's what they tried to do with the Blackhawks back in the 90s, and nobody cared about the Blackhawks even when they were good. And once they put them on TV, everybody was a Blackhawks fan, and then there was a huge interest in the team, and then they started winning.
That's what I mean. I feel like
they made more money.
I feel like the not putting them on TV hurts you worse, right? Like
it 100% does. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if anyone's ever done a study on that. I doubt it, because I'm sure James Dolan doesn't like that idea of knowing that his blackouts don't help him. I'm not sure if the Knicks do that anymore, because they got their own network and everything out there in New York, but I'm surprised this blacked out. I think you're onto something, because I was on StubHub recently and trying to sell some Bulls season tickets, trying to get at least a couple pennies on the dollar. And the Cleveland Bulls game was to get in the building was $8.
Wow.
Yeah, you could have went and saw that game. Granted, you'd have to go to Cleveland, and like Joakim Noah says, nobody goes on vacation in Cleveland.
I just feel like that game tonight, I think it was maybe just some higher power saying you should not watch this game.
No, you should always watch the Bulls Cleveland, because there's a 78% chance the Bulls are going to win that game. No matter what, no matter who's playing, and they almost won tonight.
That was closer than the experts predicted, right?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure LeBron looked real pissed that he had to play extended minutes versus Orlando and Chicago. The Bulls were up 38-28 after the first quarter. They scored 38 points in a quarter. You believe this?
No, I can't. Well, and we knew that going in, right? I mean, I said this from day one. There is no defense on that team. What guy plays defense? LeBron plays defense in the playoffs because he cares. But during the regular season, LeBron ain't playing any great defense.
Well, allegedly, Jay Crowder is supposed to play defense, right?
Okay, so it's 1-on-5. Kevin Love ain't playing any defense. Derrick Rose ain't playing any defense. When Wade's in there, he ain't playing any defense.
I mean, how much defense do you have to play against Jerian Grant and Paul Zipser?
Yeah, but I mean, the Suns play no defense, and even when they win, it's 132 to 130. At some point, you got to stop the other team to win the game, unless you're going to score every time down the court.
Well, that's pretty much what happened at the end of the game. Is LeBron decided to run into people and not get any offensive foul called, and he's been doing that his whole career. So if it works, stick with it. And they pulled it off. They barely beat the Bulls, 119 to 112. Actually, a 3-pointer would have put the Bulls within 3. I think the Bulls were actually up 92-91 at one point.
I believe it. All right, so I got to get your thought on this quickly. I'm excited to talk about this because it's a trend spotter. Okay, there's a big man for the Detroit Pistons. He has made his free throws finally. 16 out of 20 in the preseason, so he shot 80%. Then 10 out of 12 so far this regular season.
Stanley Johnson?
It is the big man, Andre Drummond, the career 38% free throw shooter. Any thoughts on why he's now making his free throws?
So this is real suspicious. Because no one goes from being that bad of a free throw shooter. Look at Dwight Howard, look at Shaquille O'Neal, look at all these big men in the past who couldn't shoot free throws. Nobody goes from sub 60, which Drummond was like sub 40, right?
He has not shot above 40%, save one season in his career when he was 20 years old.
There you go. So no one goes sub 60 to even what, 75, 80? Like, is there a precedent that you can think of for that? I mean, I'm not on Basketball Reference right now, but
no, that's not a thing. But right, I mean, if you take away the biggest knock on your fantasy game, and you're already a 4th round pick, like even if you can be not punt, that could be a big steal in your draft, right? Like even if you can get it up to like 70%, well, that's 75.
That's the key, right? Is that you drafted Andre Drummond knowing you were going to punt free throws, and all of a sudden, if he's a 60%, 70% shooter, he's not going to get fouled as much, so his volume's going to go down. And that, depending on how the rest of your draft went, could mean that you're going to compete every once in a while in free throws.
Yeah, so I guess the question is it real? The stroke looks decidedly different to me. It's obviously been successful over a 32 shot sample size, which is, I mean, not a ton, but
it's not
starting to get up there,
small
right?
of a sample size. You know, I made 32 shots in game.
So here's kind of where I think it probably ends up. I think when we look back, it's going to work better. The question is how much better, right? This new, whatever he's doing, whether it's more mental, whether it is the stroke, whatever it is, I think it's going to work better. The question is how good. I'm guessing right now somewhere between 50 and 65%, or 50 and 60%, somewhere probably like 55 is where I would go with. And even that is a huge improvement, but still punt territory.
I'm going to go on a limb. I'm going to say he shoots over 70% this year.
Wow.
I think it's going to happen.
That is a big development there. That would be impressive. So
and if he's shooting over 70% and shooting like 4 a game because people can't foul him anymore, he becomes pretty much ownable in roto leagues, which in the past really he hadn't been.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So this is a trend I am watching in the coming weeks, right? Like I am going to try to figure out if Mr. Drummond can make his free throws.
Speaking of trends, one of your favorite trends is figuring out when Anthony Davis gets hurt. And tonight, Anthony Davis bangs knees, immediately leaves the game, going to get an MRI. I mean, I don't think Gordon Hayward broke his foot off, and he didn't leave the arena quicker than Anthony Davis did after banging knees.
Yeah, no, and I told you this on last time we talked. On Sunday, I was proud of Anthony Davis because he took a shot to the face in that Lakers game, and he stayed in the game. And that's the kind of little ticky-tack thing that used to take Anthony Davis out of the game. So I thought maybe he had matured and he'd gotten over those little ticky-tack things. And maybe this is something more. Jen Hale, sideline reporter for the Pelicans, reported the warm-ups even, and he tried to play and things didn't go well. And it looked like he banged knees with Mo Harkless at some point there in that early going. I don't know, man. He's going for an MRI. I'm worried, but I'm also thinking it could just be an Anthony Davis, ooh, I got hit, I got to sit out tonight, and then I'm back tomorrow thing.
Well, I think anytime
two minds.
Anytime you go for MRI, something could be up here, right? But we've seen this from Anthony Davis before. He goes for MRI, he sits out a couple of games, he comes back. You know what? I mean, at this point, you should know what you're getting into with Anthony Davis. You're gonna get these random stretches, and I understand why it pisses people off in head-to-head leagues because they end up losing the week because Anthony Davis didn't play for them. I get it. In roto leagues, I'm not as worried because you're gonna get pretty much the amount of games you thought you were going to get out of Anthony Davis this year, and just deal with it. When he plays, he's a monster.
Well, and that's I guess the worrying part about the MRI, right? Is like if they do find something, a lot more serious, then you're not going to get those games. So this is definitely something to monitor. You'll probably know maybe even before you hear us talk again. If he gets the MRI tomorrow morning, probably by tomorrow afternoon, you'll get a word. So we're talking probably by the time you hear my voice again, you'll probably know what happened to Anthony Davis before you hear it from me.
Yeah, I assume so. It looks like there's a couple other minor injuries running around the league. Jimmy Butler had too much chili at the country barbecue, and he ended up sitting out sick tonight. I think he had the poops. It looks like Chris Paul might be back a little bit sooner. I forget where I read that, but Chris Paul might be back a little bit sooner. I assume if you're, keeping Chris Paul, since you're not going to drop Chris Paul, this is good news for you. And Elfrid Payton is going to be out. We didn't talk about Elfrid Payton. He might be out for a week or two.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the ones where I'm still holding, right? He's still in that zone where I think I hold him. It didn't seem like anything too serious. Dennis Schroeder's the one that's kind of worrying me in the sense that it was, he's going to be back. He's going to miss Monday, and then he's going to be back. Now he's going to miss 2 games, but he's going to be back. And then I heard one today that we're waiting till he's 100%. Like, I don't know what that means, but that's kind of peeing me off because you know how much I love Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah, that's a little suspect. I wonder what the team's going to look like without Dennis Schroeder, the only guy who took shots on that team. So you actually might want to take a flyer or stream some Atlanta Hawks for the next game or two, considering someone's got to take 20-some shots.
Just don't make it Bembry because he broke his wrist.
No, do not make it Bembry. And with the Orlando Magic, DJ Augustine ended up getting the start tonight in what was the some who own Aaron Gordon, like myself, are going to declare the day Aaron Gordon broke out into the greatest basketball player of all time. 41 points and 14 rebounds tonight, 5 3-pointers from Aaron Gordon. That is an over-exaggeration. I do think he's going to have a very good year, and I don't think he's going to be averaging 41 points. But interesting to see that Aaron Gordon took on a huge load tonight with Elfrid Payton out and DJ Augustine starting at the point guard.
And we talked about this the last time, right? I think Gordon and Vucevic are going to trade nights where they're the man, right? They take the most shots on the team. Tonight seemed to be Aaron Gordon's night, but some nights it'll be Vuce. I mean, I think that Gordon is what he is, right? I think we kind of know he's going to take a little bit of a breakout, especially if he's getting those minutes, but I don't think he's going to be the greatest player in fantasy. He's probably going to be somewhere around that top 50 mark.
The last guy I want to talk about with just what we've been hearing around the league is the ongoing Markelle Fultz saga. And this actually is going to lead into what we want to talk about tonight. We want to hit the waivers. One of the pieces of advice I keep giving is that in the first 2 weeks, I'm going to say this every single podcast. Do not panic and hit the waiver wires hard. And tonight, we're going to hit the waiver wires. We're going to hit the waiver wires for everybody. So they still have to. I'm not going to, don't send me your username and password. I'm not going to log onto your account. I'm not going to pick up people on the waiver. You also have to hit the waiver wires. But we're going to do it first so you can follow our lead.
So on this Markelle Fultz thing, I'm not going to read Deadspin's headline, but you guys should all Google and look at Deadspin's headline because it is rather funny.
I didn't see this headline. I did see that he literally can't lift his arms up, and then someone posted a picture of him literally lifting his arm up in the middle of a game.
I would read Deadspin's headline, but it features a word that is not family friendly. So be forewarned about that.
I'm not family friendly. I would have got Deadspin. Is it this one? Markelle Fultz says, "Be more like an egg."
No. It's about Fultz's shoulder.
What are the Sixers even doing with Markelle Fultz?
I'll read it with the blank. It says Markelle Fultz's agent. Fultz's shoulder is all blanked up and full of goop.
Brilliant. What is going on in Philly? So this is what I'm talking about. A lot of people still own Markelle Fultz.
Here's what I want to say. That is probably the worst or the second worst medical staff in basketball. They're just
That's saying a lot.
shitty.
One time the Bulls gave Luol Deng a broke ass spinal tap and almost killed him. So that's saying a lot.
Yeah, and them and the Pelicans are up there too. I think the Pelicans have a very poor medical staff.
Yes.
But these guys suck, and they're just like deceitful as hell, which that bothers me. Like, ooh, we don't want to tell anybody anything. Okay, so he had this cortisone shot, and they put this fluid in his shoulder, and now he's got more discomfort than he had before he got the shot. And the shot's basically supposed to relieve pain and inflammation. So they botched the shot, I'm guessing. Like they just did it wrong.
Yeah, I have no idea, but like if you have so much pain in your shoulder, you need a cortisone shot. Shouldn't you instead be trying to figure out what the pain in your shoulder actually is, and then also not playing?
Now
because it's not like Philly's going to be that great, and it's not like Marco Fultz has been, contributing very much.
Here's their story behind it, right? Okay, so we talked about this once before. He changed his jump shot without telling them.
Always a good idea.
They claimed that he was taking, like trying to make this his new jump shot by shooting 10,000 jump shots. And basically his shoulder just got fatigued, right? And worn out because he was doing a movement 10,000 times that he had never really done before in his life. And I mean, just like anybody else, right? I mean, if you don't do anything besides sit on your butt on the couch and then you decide to like go vigorously lift weights for 4 hours in a day, like, yeah, your arms are going to feel like they fell off. And if you do that again the next day, your arms are going to feel worse yet.
Yeah, I mean, I did that in college. I was like, oh, yeah, I'll go work out with my roommate. I was doing nothing. And I went hard. It was leg day. I went real hard. Next day, I couldn't walk.
Yeah, so, I mean, I get why he's having the discomfort if that's really the case. And maybe that's a lie, too. I mean, we can talk about that if you want. But
let's not go too deep down the rabbit hole.
Well, I don't get why they're playing him, though. Like, if you're hurt, you're hurt. If you're not, you're not. Like, most people get a cortisone shot and at least, like, sit out for a little bit. Now, the cortisone shot was on the 5th. So, I mean, maybe but they didn't really sit him out there. They gave it to him on the 5th. He played on the 9th. So.
Well, let's go to the waiver wires with Marco Fultz, right? He's owned in Yahoo leagues. He's owned by 68% of teams. Now, my guess is that 68% of teams aren't deep leagues in Yahoo. I'm not a mathematician. I don't have insider knowledge. But 68 seems high for a player who's averaging 19 minutes, 6 points, and 2 assists.
Yeah, so, I mean, you bought him, and I'm pretty sure I was saying this, and I think you were saying it too, that we knew those first couple months were going to be a struggle. I think for pretty much any rookie, save your name being LeBron James, you struggle at the beginning of the season. So, I mean, I think people knew what they were buying. At least they should have. Now, is he really worth owning at this point? No, and that's why I said don't draft him. Wait till someone else drops him and pick him up when he starts playing well. I mean, I still think that's the strategy, right? I mean, in a head-to-head league, now if it's Roto, I could see holding him. If he's one of your bench players, hold him. I mean, when he starts playing well, play him. Just don't play him until then. If it's head-to-head, this guy's actively hurting your team unless you have some sort of games limit in your head-to-head league. So I would cut.
Oh, I'm 100% with you there. Unless you're in a very deep league where dropping Fultz would just be a terrible idea. You're playing head-to-head right now. I mean, even if you're playing Roto, you can keep him around, but I bet you there's somebody on your waiver wire. Like I said, deeper teams, the deeper leagues, this doesn't really count. But in any standard league right now, so like, and let's just do a little quick level setting here. When we say standard league, and I've actually had this question a few times, and people who are new to fantasy basketball, standard league is usually your 10 to 12 team league, head-to-head or Roto, somewhere between 10 and 13 roster spots.
And here's why we say it's either 10 or 12. If you play on ESPN, now, if you play on ESPN, it's a 10-team league. That's their standard league. If you play in a standard ESPN league, it's 10 teams. If you play in a standard Yahoo league, it's 12 teams. The difference between the two other differences, their rosters is the same. It's 10 and 13. 10 starters, 3 bench, so 13 total roster spots. The other difference between ESPN standard and Yahoo standard is ESPN doesn't have turnovers, Yahoo's does.
I'm a rebel. I play in an 11-team league.
Well, it's got to be roto then, right? Like most people play head-to-head, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't work with an odd number of teams, so you got a 10, 12, 14.
It is a roto league. Yeah. And roto is far superior, but I'm not going to belittle people for playing head-to-head if they enjoy it. So we're basically to be talking about, try to differentiate between standard deep leagues, which would be something like 14, 16 teams. Anywhere where your roster, the people who should be on a team is over 140, 100. When you're starting to get in the 150 range, because like you're saying, 10 team, 13 players is 130 to 150. So anything over 150, then you're venturing into guys like Markel Fultz, who should probably still be either picked up or owned in a bigger league.
Yeah, but and here's what I'll say about some of those guys, like kind of in that range. Like some of them are good for streaming because they at least help you like in a category, or they can give you some sort of boost somewhere. I'm not even putting Markel Fultz in my streaming right now. Like
not at all.
He's outside of my consciousness at this moment.
I'm not interested. I'm gonna keep an eye on his progress or whatever, just because he's got some interesting potential, I guess. But right now, you look at him; he's broke. His shots broke. They're not playing him a lot. What? There's nothing to like here.
And correct me if I'm wrong here. Do you really remember anyone remaking their shot like in the middle of the season?
I don't remember anyone remaking their shot really much ever. Like I know there's a handful of guys who did, but it was kind of like it was always like a, whoa, this guy redid his shot and it's ready. This guy is currently rebuilding his shot.
Well, and like you hear MKG does it every year, right? Oh, he's got a new shot. He's gonna shoot a good percentage, and then like
I honestly think someone copy and pastes that article every year.
Yeah, and like just builds a different video, like gets him to shoot a one-off like crazy shot, and then just pastes it up there. It's new.
The 1-3. They videotape him taking the 1-3 in practice that he hit.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I'm worried about that situation. So if I got a watch list, right, like some people like to use the watch list, I would put Fultz on the watch list, just kind of monitor his progress, but definitely not for me right now.
I agree. I'm with you 100%. Let's hit the waivers right now, and let's see what we can do for people who are in. Let's start with standard league teams.
Before we hit the waivers, okay, I got two guys who I'd like to buy low on.
You're just giving out good takes today. You're giving free information out. I mean, considering this is a free podcast, but this is like a bonus podcast.
All right, so first guy I'd like to buy low on, Danilo Gallinari, shooting 25% from the field, and the rest of the numbers all still looking pretty hot. I think this guy is gonna be good. And I've gotten some people saying, "Ooh, should I drop Gallo? Should I drop Gallo? He can't make a shot." I'm definitely buying low on Gallo.
I'm very aware of Gallinari's trash shooting percentage. Tonight, he's 4 for 9, so it's looking a little bit better, but it's still only like 9 shots, 10 points. Owners are going to be disappointed in him so far. I am certainly, but since I know how fantasy works and I know that 1 week does not make the man. The sample size is small. Anyone can go, and so the greatest players really don't. But look at Gallinari; he's shooting at like 30-some%, and look at Westbrook; he's shooting like 56% from the line. Those things aren't going to last.
Yeah, so this is an active time to buy low on somebody. The second guy that I have to buy low on, maybe you're not even buying low on. And so this is a question I want to ask to you. It is a San Antonio Spur. Do you know who I'm going to ask about yet?
Murray?
No. Murray's been playing great. I don't think you're buying low. You're buying high if you're buying on Murray.
I agree.
The man is Mr. Pau Gasol. Only playing 23 minutes. Only shooting 27%. Are you buying Mr. Pau Gasol?
No. Get that Paul Gasol trash out of my face.
I am buying him, especially in a roto league, because I think he's going to shoot good percentages, and he's going to get you some rebounds. He's going to get you good assists from a big man. So I would buy Pau Gasol.
Here's my issue. Standard league. Paul Gasol, playing 23 minutes a game. Ugh, like everything has to go right for him to be relevant, right? And you're right, in a 9-cat league across the board, if his percentages are, if he's shooting 50% and, you know, somewhere close to 80 or 75% from the line, hits the occasional three, right? But this is why I'm staying away from him in standard leagues right now. He's 37 years old, and he should be, you know, playing better right now. And like we said, small sample size. So this is why you're saying buy low on him. It's worth a shot, right? I don't think you're going to have to buy low on him. I think he might just be on your waiver wire right now.
79% owned in Yahoo leagues, but that's my point. If he's on the waivers, especially in a roto league, if I can have that as the last guy on my bench, I mean, it gets kind of interesting to me in the sense that I think he can shoot good percentages and help me in a few categories, and especially assists, right? It's hard to win assists. It's hard to get assists. And from a big guy, I mean, he's averaging 4 assists a game in 23 minutes. Now, obviously, that's not going to stick, but would you be surprised if he got 2.5 or 3? I mean, like, even that's a big incremental gain from, a guy like Julius Randle who's giving you 1.
Yeah, maybe I would throw a into my bench trade for Paul Gasol in a roto league, but in a head-to-head, I'm not terribly interested. But you did mention someone that I would like to talk about in our waiver wire segment, which is Julius Randle. He's been playing hardly any minutes. He's 18 minutes a game right now. He is owned in 80% of Yahoo leagues. What's going on in LA?
They keep claiming he's hurt, but it's a fake injury.
Why? Where do you get this inside information?
Like, because there was no injury. He played all preseason. Like, how are you hurt? You didn't miss any time. You're fine. Just Kyle Kuzma and Larry Nance are playing better than him. And they finally realized he's shitful. He's horrible. He cannot play basketball. It's
a little telling that, like you said, where's the injury? He still played in the games. He's only been averaging like 18 minutes here. But here's the key, and you already mentioned it. Kyle Kuzma and Larry Nance were going to get minutes. And we said this preseason. We said this in our even our team preview way back in the day, is that there are just too many mouths to feed. There are too many people with minutes. And that was before we knew Kyle Kuzma. In our preseason review, we in the Megapod, we talked about Kyle Kuzma saying, oh no, like Kyle Kuzma is going to, if he's going to be in the rotation, there's another 15 minutes off the books. And who's that going to hurt? Nance and Randle. And it has. And Randle played 24 minutes in his last game. Sure, he looked a little bit more aggressive, right? But I don't think Julius Randle is standard league relevant simply because, he's not a 9-cat across the board type of player. He occasionally gets some decent assists, right? And I was kind of on the Julius Randle bandwagon coming into the season. But if he's not going to play starters minutes, if he's not going to start, I'm dropping him in all standard leagues.
Well, and no defensive stats in 30 minutes. So what are they going to be in 18? I don't want this guy in a standard league at all. I mean, maybe if I'm going to stream him, maybe if I need some rebounds. But even then, still, he's getting 18 minutes. There's got to be someone better even to get rebounds. So I don't think I want him at all.
No, he's not even one of my streamers. He's another just toss him away. Don't even just pay half attention to him.
Is Dwayne Wade visiting that same thing? Also 80% owned. Is he visiting that same land? Because he's looking pretty busted at this point.
Yeah, he does not look good at all. And even against the Bulls tonight, where, I believe he was actually trying to play against the Bulls. He was trying to show up his old team, and it was hilarious. There was a steal by Justin Holiday. He runs down the court, obviously bobbles the ball because he's Justin Holiday on the breakaway, and he looks up assuming someone is coming to block his layup, and he looks and no one's around. And it's like, Justin, you should have known that Dwayne Wade didn't get back on defense in Chicago. There's no way he's getting back on defense in Cleveland.
Yeah, so I'm with you there.
Dwayne Wade. Screw you, Dwayne Wade.
All
come
right.
off the bench. Yeah, my ass Dwayne Wade went to Ty Lue. Hey, coach, can I come off the bench? I believe they mispronounced his name. LeBron James went to Ty Lue and to put Dwayne Wade on the bench.
Does he even have to go to Ty Lue, or is he just like, yeah, you're on the bench?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Ty Lue's not doing any coaching.
I feel like Ty Lue just like stands there in the box and just claps his hands like, all right, good job, guys. Good job.
I'm with you. Actually, a guy that I picked up, and apparently he's on in 79% of leagues, but a guy that I picked up here, he's only in 77, is Robin Lopez. Robin Lopez did go in a lot of standard league drafts, and I think he is probably owned in most standard leagues, but he's the best player on the Bulls. And they're running a lot of plays where Robin Lopez just kind of ends up open for a long two, which I thought Hoy ball was supposed to be about lots of movement and
Did you just
shooting
use the phrase
threes.
Hoy ball? Because that's not a thing. He is not a coach.
And if you see a team running a bunch of screens that literally do nothing, that is called Hoy ball.
That is called poop ball, if you ask me.
It's trash. And somehow these screens that are supposed to open people up for threes usually just lead to Robin Lopez open for a long two near the end of the shot clock, and he's been hitting them. And I think he's averaging 72 points and 8 rebounds. No one else is playing center on this team. Felicio is not going to take his minutes. So Robin Lopez, I think, should be owned in not 77% of leagues, but 100% of leagues.
Yeah, is Robin Lopez a top 100 player? Yeah, so even like in an 18 league, that's ownable. So I don't see a league where I wouldn't be owning Mr. Robin Lopez unless it's like 4 teams, which I don't know if you're playing in that, you need to find more friends.
Yeah, if you're playing anything under an 18 league, we're not going to help you. I'm sorry. I mean, you can still listen. Please do. Please rate and review the podcast as well. Give us good reviews. But we're probably not going to be talking a ton about whether you should pick up Gary Harris or not.
Yeah, there's just no one. Okay, so another guy I mentioned yesterday, so I won't say a lot about it. Dario Saric. He's got to go, man. He is not a standard league player anymore. Only playing 22 and a half minutes a game. Just not looking really part of that. If by Yahoo's rankings, he's 300th in the early going this season, just not getting enough minutes. So, Sarge, you got to go, man. You're off my teams.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. You're just not seeing the playing time there, even with Embiid sitting on back-to-backs, like we said. He's not really being effective at all. What do you make of Buddy Hield? Are you still trying to own him in a standard league?
No, I wasn't trying to own him in the standard league the whole time because, like I told you when we talked about the Kings in the preseason, Bogdanovich is Buddy Hield who can play defense. He's the better version of Buddy Hield.
So would you go out and pick up Bogdanovich in standard leagues right now?
Yes, sir.
How many people own the mysterious Bogdan, the younger Bogdan, even though they're not related?
Well, we'll get to him. Well, I'm not there yet. I'm still talking about in the 70% owned.
You're
right
not
now.
there yet. Listen, we're talking about standard leagues right now. We gotta get these people pick this guy up.
All right, he is not high owned here.
We'll find him. Let's see if there's anybody else in this higher.
We're getting down there.
Area. Tim Hardaway Jr.
So
another
one
guy
other guy I
I've
want to
seen
talk about. This.
Oh no, go ahead.
That's what I mean. We talked to him a little bit yesterday, right? Definitely buy low on Timmy. Just don't expect a lot more than points and threes, right? Like he's not going to give a ton of defensive stats, which you don't love. But if you know what you're buying, right? There's teams that need points, and Timmy's going to get points. He's shooting a terrible percentage, so that's a definite buy low. I want to hear your thoughts on Jamal Murray. Still 62% owned, looking bad. Maybe Eric Bledsoe's coming, maybe not. You never know about that. So.
I'll wait. I'll wait that out.
But only playing 23 minutes as it is. Like, is he worth it in 23 minutes?
I'm not gonna drop him because I think Eric Bledsoe's coming or anything like that. But
I'm saying drop him even if Eric Bledsoe's not coming. Maybe 23 minutes a game, 6 points, two rebounds, 3 assists. What the heck's he giving you at this point?
Yeah, it's a little disheartening, but I'm still willing to hold on to Murray for another week, and this is why. He's still starting. He's still playing on the first team. In his last game against the Wizards, he played close to 30 minutes. He had 8 points and 6 assists and a block. It's not great, but is he just off to a slow start? It's a
He's off to a
super
slow start.
small sample size. And so I'm holding on. If I got him on my team and I'm in a standard league, I'm going to hold on to another week. This is one of those guys. So, like Tim Hardaway Jr., right? We just talked about him. He's a guy who's going to be in the bottom half of the league or pretty close to 100 ranked overall, but occasionally he's going to slump down to unownable. While Jamal Murray, he's probably going to be in your bottom half of the league, right? But his peaks could be above 50, and his lows are probably what you're seeing right now, where he's questionably ownable. And I like his ceiling more, and simply because I like his ceiling more, and this is where you have to start evaluating who you want to drop, because you always should be dropping. You should always be streaming someone in your head-to-head leagues. And a good evaluation is if that person's ceiling, like Jamal Murray's ceiling, is higher, then maybe he's not one of your streaming players.
Yeah, I'm with you, and you nailed it right on the head, right? It's just the ceiling that makes him ownable. The thing that I will say is if he's only getting 23 minutes, I don't want him. So if the trend continues through this week and even maybe through next week, right, I might even be willing to give him 2 weeks. But in that time, if he's still playing 23 minutes or that number goes down, I just don't see how you're standard league relevant in 23 minutes. Like, he just doesn't have that kind of game. He's not that amazing permanent producer like, say, a John Collins, who I'm assuming we're going to talk about in a little bit.
We definitely are going to talk about John Collins, but I want to talk about one more different nugget. Steeman Willie Barton, owned in 70% of leagues, actually, scoring a lot, playing very well right now. I think he's just starting off hot, but he's getting about 30 minutes off the bench. I'm going to say pick him up in all standard leagues.
He's someone who's taking some minutes away from Jamal Murray, I think.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And, Mark Roberts and I's take on Will Barton, I think. I mean, we've talked about this a lot. I don't think Will Barton's a good basketball player, but
Will Barton begs to differ.
But Will Barton is a good energy guy, right? And Will Barton can do Will Barton things, and Will Barton is doing them right now. I don't have any problem riding this hot streak, right?
No, you should always ride hot streaks in all types of league, Roto, and head-to-head, especially in Roto, actually. Because in Roto, it's all about quality starts. You get 82 starts, right? And if Chris Paul has 3 bad games and you've somehow magically started Will Barton during his 3 amazing games over Chris Paul, you're better off than just starting Chris Paul for the entire season. Obviously, that's impossible to do, but hot players should be thrown into your Roto lineups to get those pretty much quality starts. And someone's always going to get injured too, so it's always good to be a little bit ahead on games, I think, at least during the first part of your season.
I'm with you there. All right, I'm going to join the pat myself on your back club that you joined yesterday.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure I called this at the end of the preseason. A droppable man, 60% owned still. Not even looking at him in the streams. I am totally off Mr. Gorgie Dang in his 14 minutes.
We were on this preseason. We were all over.
He was only going to be a backup center. That's what's happening. He's just not getting any minutes. I'm sorry. You in 14 minutes a game, I can't own you. I just can't.
No. Even 20 minutes a game, Gorgie Dang is just not relevant. Once he gets past 28, he becomes a really nice 9-cat player. And once he's below 28, it happens every year. If he plays 24 minutes, you're like, ugh, this is not good. If he plays 29 minutes, you're like, all right, he did a little bit of everything. Great.
And here's the worrying part for me, right, is the injury you got to hope for now, I think, to get him the minutes. And not that anyone hopes for an injury, but the injury you have to see to get him big minutes is Towns. It's not Taj Gibson, I don't think.
Well, I mean, who's going to play in Taj Gibson's spot if Taj Gibson went out?
Bielitsa's the backup. I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't just play Bielitsa or play small with Wiggins and Butler and Tyus Jones and Jeff Teague or Jamal Crawford in there. Like, I just really don't see any way other than a Towns injury where he's getting those big minutes this year. I really don't see him being ownable at all this season.
I'm with you.
I
I
think
think he
they
should be
did that.
dropped in all leagues.
They did that combo of Dang and Towns last year, and I don't think Tibbs liked the defense. I don't think he liked it, and so I just think he's trying to avoid it as much as possible.
Yeah, let me rephrase that. I think he should be dropped in all standard leagues.
Even in a 14 team, would you want him in a 14 team
No,
league playing
no.
14 minutes? Like it would have to be 16 teams or deeper for me to be even wanting to own Gorgie Dang at this point.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think these next two guys I'm going to recommend as pickups. We talked about a lot of people that drop here, and you should be dropping them. Like, and here's the people you should be picking up. Rondae Hollis Jefferson is only owned in 55% of leagues. I'm not sure why he's not owned in standard leagues. He is doing a little bit of everything right now. He is going to have really good steals on the year. And he's young. He's got a lot of potential. And I think he just continues to get incrementally better throughout the year.
Yeah, Ronnie Hollis Jefferson is an elite steals guy too. So you love that. You love the fact that he's going to get rebounds. And is it me or did he finally realize he can't shoot, so he's not shooting a ton of jumpers?
Yeah, he's not trying to force it. He's taking a book out of all the other 3 named characters in the league and just cutting to the rim and trying to get closer shots instead of taking jump shots.
So yeah, I'm a big fan of Rondae Hollis Jefferson. If you read my week 2 schedule primer, I recommended Rondae Hollis Jefferson to be picked up, and I stick by that. I like Rondae. I like what he's doing this year. I'd like to see him get a few more minutes, but I mean, man, Mr. Kenny Atkinson's just grinding my gears with those minutes, man. I'm not sure who he's going to play on any given night, but even in the limited minutes, Rondae's been good, so I'm definitely owning him.
Yeah, because in the limited minutes, you're 100% right there, and that's why this is so intriguing. In the limited minutes, he's been standard league relevant. Once someone in Brooklyn wakes up and he starts playing 30 minutes later in the season, that's going to be a really nice guy to have on your team. Another guy in a very similar mold, Taurean Prince, only owned in 53% of leagues. How is this guy not owned in all leagues?
Are you ready to give in to our preseason debate we had on Taurean Prince, or are you going to stick it out?
Well, remind me on what I might have been a little drunk during the times that we had the Taurean Prince conversation.
How many minutes did you say Mr. Prince was going to get?
I don't know. Was it around 24?
No, you said he was going to get 32, and I kept telling you I think he's going to get less than 30, and you
I'm sticking by 32.
You swore up and down 28 and a half minutes so far. I'm telling you, the Bud man is going to keep it right around 30 or a little less. You wait and see.
I'm going 32.
I'm going to win this debate, man. I'm telling you, I'm going to win this. But he's still worth owning.
32.
Even at the 28, he's still worth owning.
I'm already right. He played 37 last night. I'm already there. He's already there.
He has these games, right? He did it during the playoffs last year. But Bud does. There'll be games where he's running out Marco Bellinelli and Prince will be playing 15 minutes because Bud is Bud, man. He just is a little bit crazy.
Yeah. I mean, he might not play 37 minutes every night. I'm still going to go with, I think he's going to average pretty close to 32 minutes. And I'm with that. And I think he should be on all leagues right now. He is another guy who gets pretty good stats across the board. Unlike Hollis Jefferson, he can actually shoot a 3 every once in a while. And he's going to use steals and rebounds and a little bit more points. So he's kind of a 9-tool guy. I don't understand why you don't own him.
All right, Johnny Collins time.
It's time to talk about probably one of the hottest pickups in the league in the last couple of days, Mr. Johnny Collins from the Atlanta Hawks, just like Taurean Prince. I want to read these lines to you. And let me pull this up. 14 points, 11 rebounds, and a block. Followed by 14 points, 13 rebounds, and a block. All this was done in around 19 to 20 minutes. He's hitting most of his free throws and shooting around 50%.
And he was a really good points, rebounds, and percentage guy in college. Now, I mean, obviously that doesn't always translate to the NBA.
The percentages usually do, and the rebounding usually does too.
And there's the thing I'll say, right? That if you looked at a lot of like Mark Roberts did this, he did kind of, if every rookie played 36 minutes, right, which doesn't happen, hardly anyone plays 36 minutes. He did kind of a like basically what it was the show was best permanent rookie producers, and John Collins was in like the top 10 in that list.
Yeah, I actually think he was somewhere like 7'6".
Yeah, so right. I mean, I think you are right about that. So obviously we saw something in this guy, right? We saw something in his college stats. He's producing like crazy. Now, I don't know that anybody can produce this good in 19 minutes. Like, I don't know that that's sustainable, but you got to feel like he's only going to get more minutes. And here's what I said to you, yesterday when we talked about this a little bit off air was like, I don't understand how he's not getting more minutes already. Like, if he's producing that well in the limited minutes, it's not like this Hawks team has anybody great. Like, we've seen Ersan Ilyasova play for 10 different teams. He's fine, but is he really taking minutes away from a stud? We saw the Wayne Dedmon on the Spurs. He plays a backup. Like, why is this guy not getting more minutes if he's really that good?
Yeah, I have no idea. And actually, he's getting Ersan Ilyasova's been out, and he's getting still only about 20-some minutes. And
because they're playing Muscala and like all these guys, like, dude, he's a backup. Like, why is he not getting the minutes? Like, what is Bud doing here? Bud is crazy, man.
Yeah, so there is something suspicious there, and that in the long term, you might have to let John Collins go because he never gets those minutes that we're looking for. But the per 36 is there, and the per 36 can be your friend, and it could also be your foe. If you remember Brandon Wright back in the day, who would come in on Dallas.
Don't remind me. Why you got to bring up these bad thoughts?
In a very similar fashion, in 18 minutes would score like 14 and 11. And you would go, oh, imagine Brandon Wright playing 35 minutes. The fantasy basketball guys.
Did you all of a sudden get drunk there? Did you just like turn into a slobbering drunk?
That's how excited everyone in the fantasy basketball community was about Brandon Wright. Oh, man, I can't wait for him to be starting. And he got moved to a team where he started, and he sucked. He was not a starter ever. He was a sheep and wool's clothing, or a wool and sheep clothing. No, it's the sheep and wool's clothing. Damn it! And because he wasn't good.
Wolf's clothing, like a
wolf's clothing,
like the animal, not wool.
No, in a wolf's clothing. That's what I'm saying.
You said wool clothing.
No, and so this is not who I think John Collins is. John Collins is a high energy dude. He seems to be always in the right place at the right time. He is playing against second teams, so that is a little bit questionable.
Is he Kenneth Faried?
I don't think so.
Like, just does good, but not in the sense that, like, I think he's a better like shooter than Kenneth Faried. But is he like that type of guy where he gets the more minutes, right? And like the production is the exact same it was in 19 minutes because
I think you just let the cat out of the bag there. He shoots. Kenneth Faried doesn't shoot.
Yeah, but I mean, you know what I'm saying though? Like, I think he could produce that same stat line in 30 minutes just because he's a high energy guy, and when that energy drains, like just like it does for Kenneth Faried, right? Like the numbers don't get that much better because his big thing is he gives you energy, and he's not giving you the energy once he gets tired.
Yeah, I see what you're saying here, and that's definitely a possibility. I think that's what your risk. So your risk here is he is a Brandon Wright, he is a Kenneth Faried, and you're seeing basically his max potential right now, which is still fine, which will be disappointing if that's what he's putting up in 30 minutes. I'm taking the chance on, and I think it's fair to take the chance on.
He's been a top 100 player so far.
Yeah, the fact that he could be much better. He might be a rebounding stud.
Yeah, so I mean, I have no problem owning this guy and holding him even. Something to monitor. I think he gets more minutes, and I know I've been touting this guy since the preseason, right? I just saw that there was an opportunity there, and I said toward the end of the preseason, right, that maybe I wasn't drafting him, but he's shown us enough to be owned now. So if he's available, I'd definitely pick him up.
100%. In all standard leagues, especially in deep leagues, he should be owned. Where do you want to go next, Tyler?
let's talk about Danny Green, right? Is he pulling another Danny Green trick?
Let's not talk about Danny Green. Danny Green is a turd.
26th ranked player so far, according to Yahoo's rankings. What in Sam heck is Danny Green pulling off here?
So put him on your bench, right? Pick him up. Because we all know Danny Green at one point was this incredibly efficient-ish 9-cat player who did a little bit of everything and hit a bunch of threes.
It's the crazy blocks that are boosting him right now, just so everyone knows.
He's getting boosts. He's getting boosts from that and from some threes and some steals. And I mean, I'm not buying into the Danny Green hype. He's worth a flyer, right? And so, there's a difference between picking somebody up and taking a flyer, right? Taking a flyer means you're going to give them a week and see what happens and drop them. And that's for most guys on your waiver wire.
And usually for even my flyers, right? Like I took a flyer on Jared Bayless on Monday. Yeah. It didn't work out. So guess what? I didn't even give him the week. I said, see you, Jared.
I took a flyer on Dylan Brooks. I said, first night one, hey, you want to pick somebody up? You want to take a flyer on somebody? Dylan Brooks, he might play a ton of minutes in Memphis. Now, he's in foul trouble in the last game, but I don't think he's going to be anything crazy. He broke out, so I just put him back on the waiver wire, pick somebody else up. That's what you should be doing in these first 2 weeks, is just taking chances on guys like John Collins, like Taurean Prince. Danny Green, to me, is not a guy you're taking a chance on. It's a guy that you kind of think could do some stuff, but he's probably just going to maybe be hot for a couple weeks, and then you drop him, which is still perfectly fine to take a flyer on.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Phoenix point guards, you want either one of them?
Not right now. I don't really like either one of them. I know a lot of people picked up both of them, and they're not really doing anything. I mean, I guess if you're a point guard in this league and your name isn't Jerry Grant, you probably should be owned, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's going to be a relative minute split, right? They're both going to play like in the 20s. Maybe it's and man, it's just hard for me to own either one. I'm not seeing a ton that I like. Mike James has played well so far, but I mean, I think that too, if they don't trade for a point guard in that Bledsoe situation, which I mean, we don't even know when that's going to get resolved. They could wait till February, right? I mean, there's no rush to trade. They're not like they're trying to win games this year.
If you're in a deeper league, which one of those guys probably should be owned? Which one do you want to own?
I mean, in a deeper league, I want Ulis, but I don't think he's going to get the minutes. So if I'm picking one right now, it's probably Mike James. He's getting more minutes.
Yeah, I think it has to be Mike James. I think you're right. You know what I mean? Ulis is the guy I thought it would be. I'd be him, but it's always about minutes, right? And so go Mike James.
That's what I mean. Like if I'm coach, it's Ulis, but I'm not. They don't let me vote. So
they do not let you coach, not after that one time.
So you know what I mean? So that's where I'm at with that. I really don't want either one though in a standard league. I'm streaming those guys though. I will admit that, right? Like if I need some assists, right? Mike James, man, I'm hoping for 3 or 4 assists and just riding it out, brother.
I'm streaming him. I'm streaming CJ Miles for my threes. Sabonis has been really nice with Miles Turner out. That won't last. These are all guys you should be streaming.
Sabonis though. Man, has that guy been getting some good rebounds. And we talked about this in the preseason. Rebounds, not the easiest category to come by. I'm definitely streaming Sabonis for some rebounds.
Yeah, if you're in a deeper league, I think he should be owned because you can see what he can do. And it's not like there's a lot of big guys coming off the bench. Even once Miles Turner is back, his minutes are going to go down, but I don't think they're going to go down to him being irrelevant in a deeper league.
You want to know a guy I think is kind of getting criminally underrated?
Sure.
That's Mr. Terrence Ross.
Yeah, I think he missed all his shots tonight.
34% owned in Yahoo leagues. He is shooting a poor percentage right now, but if this dude's on your wire, I think you could probably pick him up and hold him, and he's going to be pretty close to that top 100 mark by the end of the season. Not a ton of upside there, but just kind of a sneaky good player to hold on your roster.
So in the instance where you're looking at a guy where people aren't terribly interested in, right? Like Ross. Is it better just to stream someone who is probably going to be in the top 100, and once he gets hot, just to leave him on your roster? Because if there's not a lot of interest in him, and obviously that's a little bit of a risky play, right? But you're streaming a top 100 guy, that's getting a lot of value off your waivers.
Right. In a 10, I'm streaming. In a 12, I just feel like if you're top 100, you should be owned, right? And I don't want to take that risk of letting a top 100 guy out there and someone else grabbing him and keeping him. So that's kind of the difference between those two leagues, right? They're both kind of standard leagues. But in a 10, you got a little more wiggle room. And so I feel like a top 100 guy I can let out there on the wire and stream. And in a 12, I don't really think I can.
I want to throw some names at you. And I want you to tell me if they are top 120 guys. Tyson Chandler.
Yeah, I mean, he is in the sense that he's going to get those big rebounding numbers. But how much longer do they stick with Tyson Chandler? Like, this is the question for me, and this is probably why I'm going to say no. I'm definitely not holding him in any way. I'm just streaming him. I think at any minute they could just go, yeah, Tyson, you're not playing anymore.
Any minute, any game, that they might just go, 10 minutes for you tonight.
Yeah. And like, I think he's a good leader for them, right? Like he's always seemed like he's supposed to be a good guy. And I mean, I don't really know any of these guys. I don't know, but I just feel like that's so tricky value. But those rebounds are huge, right? We just talked about Sabonis being worth a stream because of the rebounds, and Tyson Chandler's averaging more rebounds and will probably average more rebounds this season. Yeah.
He's definitely worth a stream. And if you're in a bigger league, he's worth owning because of the rebounds. Another question, top 120 guy. This guy got finished top 120. Kelly Oubre Jr.
Oh, finished top 120. Okay, I thought you were asking me if they were like top 120 right now. Okay,
well, let's just say, do you want to own them?
That's right different. So Tyson Chandler, no way he finishes the top 120.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I misunderstood your question.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Kelly Oubre, not top 120.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, no, I'm not on the Kelly Oubre bandwagon.
I'm a little bit on the Kelly Oubre bandwagon. I think he is worth. Well, he's obviously off to a hot start, but here's why I'm on the Oubre bandwagon. He's playing a lot of minutes right now, and I know that his minutes will go down once they're all healthy on the Wizards.
Well, keeps coming back and taking his minutes.
Sure, but how many minutes is he going to take?
30.
No, I mean, he's not. Like, he's good. Marquis going to get 30 minutes, but he's not taking 30 minutes directly from Kelly Oubre.
No, but he's probably taking 12 to 15.
Fair.
So, I mean, is anyone relevant in 20 to 22 minutes?
Kelly Oubre's ability to get stats across the board, if they find a place for him, I could still see him still playing 26, 27 minutes.
Here's the thing.
I think a top 120 player in a 9-cat across the board league. I mean, like, I'm on Basketball Reference looking at his per 36 minute numbers for his career. What about that looks sexy to you? There's just nothing there, man. 6 rebounds per 36 minutes, 1 assist, 1.3 steals. It's not about what he's done, it's what he could do. He is incredibly young. He is still developing, and he's shown flashes, and that's why I'm interested in him. Right? Anyone who shows flashes, I'm interested in keeping an eye on them. I'm willing to take a chance on them because you could hit a big.
But for the season, right? I mean, like, it is possible, right? I mean, there could be more injuries, and that's always possible. But if I'm betting man today for the season, there's no way he's top 120 because he's going to fall down into like a 20. I think maximum like 25-minute role once they get healthy, and that's just not going to be worth top 120.
That's fair. I'm with you. If those minutes fall, then we're not having this conversation at all. One more name for you. This one will hit close to home. Skal Labissiere from your Sacramento Kings.
Yeah, so we'll talk about our other Sacramento Kings man here to finish it up because that's kind of where I wanted to end on. So I'm excited about that.
Perfect. Good segue.
Scal, top
Scott
120
Labasi,
at
yeah.
the end of the season, right? That's the question, or now? Because now they're going to let Randolph play.
By the end of the season.
Now, I think they're going to do a similar thing to what they did last year, and they're going to try to trade George Hill and Zach Randolph, and they're going to play the kids after the All-Star break. So is that enough time to boost them back up? Probably not for the season. Definitely don't want to own him right now. There will be a point in the season where I'm going to tell you pick that dude up.
Yeah, if you're seeing a Zebo injury, I think you can pick him up. If he's going to be playing closer to 30 minutes, I just like what he does across the board, and I like his potential.
I will say this too: Jaeger is what's a nice word I can say for a turd with his rotations?
The Hoiberg.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like some nights he just like
Being
gets pissed at you and
real
says,
Hoiberg.
"You're playing 5 minutes," even though you're a starter, and like he's just a turd. I don't know what else to say.
It's been a real Hoiberg out there.
All right, so Bogdan, not to be confused with Bojan, who plays for the Indiana Pacers.
Jeez.
This is Bogdanovich for the Sacramento Kings, a whopping 5% owned. Now, he's only played in one game. He just came back from an injury. This dude is definitely worth owning in your league. Okay.
Wow, a must pick up, you're saying.
He got in 25 minutes, 12 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. I think he's going to get you over a steal a game. I think he's probably pretty safe to get more minutes as the season progresses, more and more minutes. I think he's ramping up from that injury. I told somebody I thought it would be low 20s for the first couple games. He got 25, which is about what I expected to be the max. I think he gets into the 30s. They're not very deep on those wings. I think he shoots a pretty good percentages from both the field and the line. He gets you like 1.5 to 2 threes. He gets you somewhere 14, maybe as low as 12, as high as 15 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, half a block. Not sure what the turnovers are going to be quite yet.
The key here is going to be his field goal percentage, right?
It's going to be like 45.
Yeah, and if he can hit 45, if he can be around that and shoot at a decent clip, then you're talking about someone who is in the 120 top 120.
I think he could easily be a top 100 player this year.
Yeah, I mean you're not trying to go out there and say, oh, this guy's a breakout candidate. He could be a top 50 player. You're not going that.
I'm
far.
saying he's Buddy Hield with some defensive stats. And,
So
and everybody always wants Buddy Hield, right?
Steal.
As like a back half of that top 100, right? Like right around number 100 player. And I think he's a little better than Buddy. I think he's like a 90 player, 90 to 100, probably somewhere in there is where he falls. I really like him. I think he's a good little player. 25 years old, a rookie, but not really. I mean, he's played a lot in overseas. He's a veteran in that sense.
Is this your must pick up of the week?
Yeah, he is. I really like this kid. I think he can really ball. There are going to be nights where Jaeger, like I said, he pisses you off because he, for whatever reason, misses a rotation or whatever the case is, and he plays him 20 minutes, and you're going to be like, ugh, Jaeger. But I think he's going to be good.
Go out there, pick up Bogdanovich.
Okay,
for
so
the Sacramento
it's
Kings.
Bogdan, and then so if you can spell Bogdanovich, his first name is the first 6 letters of Bogdanovich.
He's on the Sacramento Kings.
Yes,
it's probably the easier way to figure it out. That is Tyler's must pick up of the week in deep leagues and standard leagues. I'd say go take a flyer on him, and if he's good, keep him around. And I'm saying the same type of advice for Johnny Collins. He's my must pick up of the week. Granted, there's a lot of other players we talked about that if they're not already owned on your team, probably should be owned over these two players. But for those of you who are playing in a 12-team standard league, these guys are probably out there, and I'm willing to take flyers on either one of those guys and leave them on the bench for a week or two just to see what happens.
Yeah, and with Johnny Collins, I mean, if you're picking him up, I think you maybe want to just kind of hold him for the rest of the way here. I think the minutes are only going to go up. So if you're a believer, right, if you've seen something that you can sink your teeth into and say, I'm a believer in John Collins, then why would you dump him at this point? Like, okay, maybe he has a couple games where he's not as good because he's playing 20 minutes, but if you think it's going to get better and he's only going to get more minutes, he's only going to get more minutes.
100%. I think that's it for the waiver wire episode. So everybody go out there, hit the waivers. I hope we provided some pretty good content out there. And if you're looking for some streaming advice, Tyler, you got that article out there. Tell everybody about that.
Yeah, so I did kind of a week 2 schedule primer. The weekly league part of it's already come and went, so you can't really sink your teeth into that too much. But then I did for standard leagues, right, that are head-to-head and their daily changes, you can usually stream players in, but some leagues like to limit the number of pickups you have for a week. Like some leagues only let you have 3 pickups or 5 pickups for the week. So what I like to do is I like to take advantage of back-to-back sets, right? So you can make 1 pickup and kind of get 2 games out of a player. So I broke it down by each day's like kind of back-to-back sets. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Thursday, Friday. You can look at the teams that are playing, look at some pickups I recommended. I tried to keep it short and sweet on like what categories they're going to help you in. If those are the categories you need to win your week, just target those guys. And I mean, the easiest way to win a head-to-head matchup is to have a game's advantage. So that's basically what the article is supposed to do.
Play more games. It's pretty. It's pretty straightforward. That doesn't always work actually, but it definitely gives you the bonus that you need, the slight advantage in those close matchups. And that's a really good article. Everybody should go check that out on #basketball.com. And if you want to get at us directly, you can find Tyler on Twitter at Watsy4444, and you can find me at Watch the Boxes. Feel free to message us. Tell us what you like to hear on the show, what you don't like to hear on the show, what you want to hear more of. If you got questions about your league, we'll try to help you out there too. And if you like the show, you like what you're hearing, please rate us, review us. It's the #1 thing you can do to help us continue to provide this podcast for you. Gets more people to see the show. And as always, we're going to ask you to borrow random phones at bars, parties, family events, and just force people to subscribe to this podcast.
Halloween's coming up. We're going to have some sort of Halloween party. You get out there and do it, kids.
Yeah, and if any of you are going as a giant basketball, just put Watch the Boxes on the basketball picture, and we'll tweet it out. We're not going to send you a prize. Sorry. We don't got any money. We're not going to send you any prizes. But
I'll send you a hug. I'll send you a virtual hug.
That's pretty nice. That's a nice gift. They'll probably like that, Tyler. Anything else you got for tonight?
No, that's about it.
All right, cool. We will see you next time. Thanks for joining us, everybody.